I don't really. Okay,
hoes
so
literally mad, as somebody said on the sub.
The hoes are quite mad, which is, my roommate Kyle was quite upset that Janice Griffith was trying to spar
Kyle
with
is mad that I
you.
ruined his chances.
Yeah, and
I guess I'll have to suck him off instead.
He said he likes Janice Griffith because she smiles when she sucks dick.
Mm-hmm.
Like she seems really happy about it.
She's like the Joker of dick sucking.
She laughs hysterically with the dick in her mouth.
That's cool.
But he was also like, why is she sparring with Anna? He's like, I don't want to hear her political opinions. Like, I just want to jack off to you.
I know.
And I feel similarly. I mean,
me too.
Liara Rue is upsetting because she's got such a great rack. I don't want her to be mad at us, dude.
Yeah, I don't know why she.
I don't want any girl with
fight with
perfect tits to
be
upset. She should never feel bad. I'm so sorry. I take it all back, baby.
Somebody on Twitter was like, just don't apologize to them on the next episode. I was like, I'm not going to apologize for their error of interpretation.
Well, okay. So I don't really even understand what they were mad about.
I don't either.
Because you were talking about sex work as a brand.
I very concretely said sex work as a brand online personas.
Yes.
Which means like little media girls who moonlight as poets and editors and want to affiliate themselves. They want to associate themselves with the grit and glamour of and edginess of sex work.
By selling nudes and feet pics and stuff. Yeah.
They haven't really done any real sex work, though some of them surely have.
Yeah.
But my feeling...
It's crazy to pretend that there's not people stealing sex worker valor.
Yeah.
Who are not...
Here's the thing. It's like...
There's a lot of... Yeah, go off.
Patrick said this really well. He said, it's funny how you basically called out one group of narcissists and then another group of narcissists took offense and made it about themselves.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't talking about sex workers. First of all, I love strippers and I love hookers. Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? The oldest profession.
I respect the work that they do, like, fully.
Absolutely.
I don't have any problem with it. I think probably the whole being like a political sex worker is a boner killer, especially for men. But
I disagree because I think that for a certain kind of man, maybe a man who's in the DSA, you know, they get to they get to patronize sex workers and use that to make them feel like good male allies.
And feel morally valid about it, or validated, yeah.
Morally, politically, ethically validated because they're not exploiting these people by giving them money for sex.
My question is this:
simply being good.
What are all these hot girls who purportedly, at least allegedly, claim to love their jobs, spinning their wheels and getting mad at somebody's random opinion online? If you know in your heart that it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you, like Scout's honor.
Get back to work.
Yeah, get back to work.
We didn't go where you work and slap the dick out of your mouth. So don't come at us. I don't know. Don't slap the dick out of our mouth at our job. Don't slap the microphone out of our...
We're really like prostitutes minus the dignity.
Wow.
Podcasting, baby.
Hard pill to swallow.
Somebody was like, well, you know, you guys brand yourself as sex work adjacent because you have all that like findom daddy shit on your Patreon, and that's not the case. I think it was Twitter user Kathy from Sales, that guy who took a picture with you in Toronto, who was like, parody does not equal proximity.
Yeah.
We're not, I don't
even think we're really doing it. I mean, and I was a financial dominant for a very happy period of my life that's since ended. And have you had sex for money? Let me dox yourself, bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to dox myself. I'll dox myself right here now. We'll get it out of the way. This is a matter that's very near and dear to me. I don't talk about my personal life very often. I mean, I like gesture to it. I like talk about like shopping and having a boyfriend and all this kind of superficial bullshit. But I have been a literal whore in the past, and I have done it against my will as a teenager. And that's a true story, friends. I'm not merely a hostess. I'm also a whore. This has happened to me like Epstein style in suburban New Jersey.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Scout's honor. But I know what sex work is. And my feeling about it, my personal feeling about it, is that most people go into it out of economic necessity or against their will.
Yep.
Because they've been brought to a point. There is a class of women who are maybe not economically pushed to that point and do it voluntarily.
Yeah.
But I'm less interested in like the moral reasons or moral justifications of sex work.
Of doing it not out of financial precarity, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in the moral. Here's my thing. It's like a lot of people accused me of whorephobia, and I'm like, how can you accuse a whore of... SWERF is a really funny term. It makes me think of going down one of those flat like water slides that they put in backyards at picnics. It's like a funny like slapstick term.
Right.
But
well, what I said is you can't be a SWERF if you're not a feminist.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's not forget what the F stands for there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd be skeptical to call myself or you a feminist based on its like working definition.
We're not feminists under the mainstream liberal working definition, but I do consider myself a feminist to the degree that I believe in the project of male-female equality on the economic level.
Okay. Yeah.
I think socially and sexually there's a lot of difference between the sexes, but I think actually bringing everybody up to economic, like a level of economic sustenance will go a long way in mitigating all of those issues. But
there's no reason why that should even be gendered.
It's not.
That should just apply
It's not.
to anyone. Everyone should be financially solvent.
People were saying like you're morally averse to sex work. I'm not averse to sex work. I can't say I'm thrilled or enthusiastic about it either.
I mean, sex is a sin, so.
And work sucks.
And work sucks.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
I've said it before. I'm not cut out for sex work because the only thing I hate more than sex is
work. Yeah.
So coupling the two really sounds like a nightmare for me.
My feeling is like, how can you be averse to something that's a fact of life? Like, they don't call it the oldest profession for nothing.
Sure. Yeah.
The thing I am averse to, I think, is the term sex work, because it's one of those kind of fraudulent whitewashed liberal terms like community or cisgender. Mm-hmm. Like, it basically collapses all these distinctions and categories. Sex work, it's a term that's infinitely expedient because it basically unifies all these different professions under one banner, from like middle class cam girls to totally underprivileged inner city streetwalkers.
Right. Or like sex slaves even.
Yeah. Or like
that was
16-year-old Moldovan girls who are being trafficked across the border.
And that on both sides of the argument, there's like a conflation there between like human trafficking and willing sex workers, and that's exploited to benefit the right as well as like the left. You know? That they like FOSTA, SESTA.
Yeah.
However long ago that was, like that disenfranchised a lot of working sex workers by taking resources away from them under the guise of like protecting people who had been trafficked. But of course, many people are trafficked.
Yeah.
There are 50 million slaves in the world. 50 million.
Yeah.
And that's like an estimate,
Yeah. People want to think that slavery ended with black slavery in the United States, and it absolutely didn't.
No.
It's pre-existed.
Go to
and
Thailand.
It will continue to exist.
Everyone go to Thailand. Like I have to all the time. And then that'll open your eyes to some realities about what it means to be a fucking slave.
Yeah. And I think, like, again, it's like it was a bizarre thing to turn this into kind of a labor discussion, because it was a discussion more about kind of social relations.
What you were talking about.
What I was talking about originally.
Extrapolate some on what you meant about like sexual authenticity in the tweet that initially
I was just being here. I'll admit I was just being a nasty little bitch, and I was saying that like
that's what Twitter's for.
Yeah,
let the artist work.
I was saying the maestro. I was being a nasty little bitch, and I was pointing out that a lot of girls, in my opinion, in my personal individual opinion,
your truth,
my truth, who brand themselves in this kind of overtly burlesque, carnival-esque way, are actually not very sexy. There's no eroticism in it, and everybody knows it.
Right.
I wasn't saying that. One thing I was absolutely not saying was that you have to derive authentic pleasure when you service a client as a sex worker. And people were making all sorts of like analogies to like liking servicing your clients when you're like a waiter or like a hostess. Yeah. I didn't like serving any of those people. They were assholes. Serve
anyone. No. That's why I'm my own boss, bitch.
Yeah. But that's not what I was saying. I was just saying that these people are kind of like corny and weird and unsexy and have to kind of transactionalize
which they are. And even like, all right, you know, Liara Rue, arguably, it seems to me, is one of the most like visible, successful escorts.
Yeah.
She has really branded herself. She has built her livelihood on social media and Patreon and whatever, and like more power to her. Happy for her.
Yeah.
And once again, absolutely fantastic rack. But
gorgeous girl, great upper body.
Fantastic upper body on that one. But but the thing, it does sort of drain eroticism out of it, because patronizing an escort should be sort of this clandestine, discreet thing, rather than this like spectacle of like yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
And I don't know, obviously, what her like interactions, what her
private dealings
are like, what like life is like for her. No, you know, what kind of clients she has, what her relationships are like with them. Maybe I'll drop a couple $1,000s to hang out with her and find out.
Oh my God, I should buy her services. She can decline.
We should pay her to come on the pod.
Yeah.
God, we're being real cons.
No, I'm not. I have no beef with Liara Rue. I mean, she's the one that came for me in this like the thing is like all these girls, they basically bear their inner kind of insecurities. They're like,
you're ugly. You're ugly and bad at sex.
When they scream that at you, it says more about them than it says about you. Like, you shouldn't do that. And I know people are going to be like, Anna, but you call people ugly all the time. First of all, I don't. I've never called anybody ugly to their face.
Okay.
I've never. I've never called anybody ugly to their face, because I know how hurtful.
I'm not going to look at the receipts on that, but I trust you.
Secondly, I think I'm more like easily accused of calling people fat, which I have.
Yeah.
Americans have this stupid, uniquely stupid ability where they conflate ugly and fat. Take somebody like Lizzo, beautiful face, too obese.
Yeah.
And as a former chubby girl, I can attest to the fact...
We've all seen the pics.
Yeah, we've seen the pics. I can attest to the fact that you're less miserable when you're thin. You just are. Life is easier. Life is already hard enough as a thin person. Why would you also put on a bunch of cumbersome weight?
Cumbersome weight. Yeah. I mean, people seem especially mad at me because of my food Twitter lately, which I've had for years.
Yeah.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah.
Let me express myself, okay?
Again, this is a matter of your personal opinion, your personal aesthetic.
Yeah, my body aesthetic and discipline preference. But when people say that I'm like glamorizing eating disorders and whatnot, I do understand, like what you just said, that you are much happier being thin. Yes. But like, let's not forget that like people with really disordered eating are miserable.
Yeah, they have.
That being thinner doesn't necessarily make you happier.
No,
because you could have like a diseased mind that makes you starve yourself and like you'll never be thin enough and whatever.
Yes.
But I get what you're saying.
I'm saying that if you lose weight the fair and square way within the context of a relatively healthy lifestyle, I don't mean perfect, obviously drink and smoke, but if you like work out, eat normally, etc., it feels much better to be thin.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. No one could dispute that.
Nobody's going to dispute that. It's and
well, they will, but
maybe. But my feeling is that a lot of people, and I say this with a lot of empathy again, a lot of people who are mad at us for being like fat shamers or for glamorizing eating disorders feel a little bit anxious and insecure because they're aware of the hard work that it's going to take them to get to a level, a weight that's desirable for them. And I don't blame them. Or they've never been a normal weight and they don't even know what it feels like. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I say this in a very kind of like genuinely loving, empathetic way. And
like Marianne Williams.
Yeah. And I think anybody can improve their looks, their confidence, whatever. But you can't install yourself as kind of like a moral or arbiter and moral authority if you're prepared to say mean things about people's looks. I also dispute Liara Rue's claim that you have to be hot and or good at sex to do porn. That's hilarious. There's plenty of really ugly people who suck and are unconvincing in their performances in porn. I would say that's actually like 80% of porn.
Yeah. Not Janice Griffin, though. Keep up the good work, girl. Sydney Leathers was in the mix. Yeah. It was really, I was a little checked out. I was a little checked out, but I would check, look occasionally and be like, wow, all these.
I was stunned.
All these chicks.
I was like stunned that all these chicks that I sort of like, admire, I wouldn't say maybe admire, but
are horny for.
I don't even know if I'm horny for them, but I like kind of appreciate the fact that they're like feminine and sexy and stuff like that they were like,
and they should get whatever, make money however you need to make money. I've been there.
Yeah,
I've done whatever
I don't
it
give a
takes.
shit what they do for money.
I've
That's
been
not my
essentially
business.
I'm not trying to steal sex worker valor, but I've been essentially like a whore.
Yeah,
I haven't had like maybe the most straightforward transactions, but I've had like whatever. I'm not gonna get into it.
Yeah,
I've crawled around on some beach house for a couple $100.
Yeah, like we've all done. I mean, I will say it again, and this might alienate and upset a lot of people, but I've literally been sold into prostitution as a child in Epstein-like circumstances, minus all the exciting access to Epstein's wealth and luxury. It's a really drab, really shitty experience.
Bummer. Don't be a drag.
No, I'm serious.
I'm just kidding. No, that's, yeah.
But
of course, many people have had that experience. Many people are sex workers. Many women are a kind of sex worker. Sex adjacent worker, whatever you want to call it. And they don't brand themselves as such on social media. And what you were referring to, I think, is a very clear phenomenon.
It's very specific.
It's very specific. We all know what you're talking about. And to take it personally as like a porn star or whatever is just a bad faith interpretation of what you were saying.
Yeah, but then I have to ask why do they take it so personally? What about that statement is so triggering? Well, I think on some level there's this like social media mentality where people feel a little bit insecure and irrelevant no matter what they're doing, and they want to like latch on to somebody, and I'm kind of the designated scapegoat of the online left, which is fine. I brought it upon myself.
Yeah, you've made your bed.
But on the other hand,
and you'll fuck in it.
I'll service some clients in it. On the other hand, it's really sad because the economic situation is so bad for everyone. I think people have had to like make the best of a shitty situation and reframe something fundamentally
exploitative as empowering.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's what it is it's like there is a cognitive dissonance. That's what upsets people, is because they have to, it's a cognitive dissonance kind of on two levels, because they have to like they're victimizing themselves, right, as this kind of like lumpen class of prostitutes, sex workers, whatever. But then also they have to valorize themselves as like these empowered individuals.
Yeah. And it's not as simple as them valorizing themselves through their victimhood exactly. Which a lot of people do actually on the internet.
Right. It's kind of muddled.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that happened yesterday really felt just like everyone was just sort of talking about something else. Everyone was sort of like narcissistically projecting their own resentments and insecurities and feelings of cognitive dissonance about being exploited, and we're all being exploited.
Yeah, on some level.
Yeah, no one wants to work.
Yeah, not under the conditions. I think that actually the idea that nobody wants to work or that work sucks inherently is a little bit off too, instinctively, because I think that if we had kind of like a fully automated luxury communism where everybody had a basic living wage and a safety net, most people would still choose to work because you need something with which to occupy your leisure time, basically.
Right.
But nobody wants to work under the current coercive, exploitative conditions.
No.
And
God, no.
You have to pick one. If sex work is just like any job, like I said on Twitter, then you can't have a hero complex about it. If it's not like any other job, and it does have, in moral terms, a kind of an added layer or vector
of like transgression and precarity.
Yes. Then you
not exploitation, because you're not supposed to say that they're exploited.
Right. But
that's what Janice Griffith took umbrage with when you said that you always thought porn would be your fallback career. Clearly a joke. She said like right, because like no one would ever do sex work unless it was their last option or something. So you can't, it's not exploitative. It's purely empowering, but they still are precarious and transgressive, and that valorizes them. That's what they want. They want to be like,
they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be seen as both heroes and victims, both as like intellectuals and activists and as whores.
And people who are, be they like legitimate escorts or not, but people who do this sort of sex work branded social media enterprise, when that's what they are, they're entrepreneurs. They depend on being transgressive, right? And then also on being empowered, and then also giving all of their information to platform to these like to Twitter and shit.
Yeah, they're bearing it all on Twitter.
And that's not empowering. That's not empowering either.
I know. Twitter's hosting your butthole pics. They also have all your credit card data. Like, it's a shitty situation whether or not you do sex work. And like, I said this too. Like, much like abortion, we really have to pick one. Is sex work, or is sex work not an ethical issue? I happen to think that the left's consistent routine denial of the ethical dimension of sex work actually weakens its pro-sex work case.
Okay.
Which I agree with, fundamentally.
Right. I think Caroline, as a woman, said this.
Yeah.
That, like, yeah, if you take umbrage with working conditions in late capitalism, you have to then take umbrage with the conditions under which sex work occurs.
Yes.
If we're going to couple work, if we're going to talk about sex work, then that is work, which is labor, which we are, as leftists, ought to be concerned with in the current conditions, which are extremely exploitative.
Yeah, and also the other irony, right, is that if you call yourself a feminist, then you have to also interrogate the nature of sex work, because the vast majority of sex work services exist for the benefit of a certain type of male client. Right. And, that...
Who can afford to patronize a sex worker.
Yeah.
Yep.
And somebody actually pointed out on Twitter quite astutely that a lot of proponents of sex work make the claim that sex work is just like any other work. But then they also advocate that sex work should be decriminalized, crucially, not legalized. Yeah. Because if it was legalized, then it would have to be regulated. Right. And they don't want it to be regulated for obvious and understandable reasons.
Which are?
Because regulating sex work is disadvantageous for sex workers.
Why?
Because they can be criminalized under regulation.
But if it's legalized, then they wouldn't be criminalized.
Yeah, but they could be kind of subject to certain kind of HR department regulations, right? Statutes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
It would be harder for them to operate.
I mean, I suspect that that argument why they want why they don't want it to be regulated is because they're libertarians.
That's probably also true, but
they're not leftists.
They're not. No, that's the fashionable thing now. But now there's this thing with it's very much similar to like the Uber thing, which we're going to talk about later. Uber engages in regulatory arbitrage because they don't want to be subject to regulations. It's the tech sector's worst nightmare that there is some kind of standardized regulation overseeing them that's like meted out by the state.
That they would be beholden to some sort of union that would ensure that its workers are protected.
Yeah.
Instead of just contracted laborers, which is, I guess, what, I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of all sex workers, but that seems what I can eke out of their argument is that, yeah, they don't want to be employees.
Yeah. And why would they be? Why would they want that? A lot of these girls, like, I'm assuming a lot of these girls, like Liara Rue, like Janice Griffith, are making a ton of money as free agents, as like individual, kind of, what do you call it? What's the term? That labor term, like contractors on the free market,
independent contractors.
Yeah,
they fill out a 1099.
Yeah,
yeah, but in that don't they understand how that that keeping sex work unregulated puts women who are actually precarious at a disadvantage,
right?
You know,
yeah, because they don't have
the only people who want sex work to be decriminalized and unregulated are like the 1% of sex workers,
right? The kind of capitalist class,
yeah, entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so you're right. It's a very kind of like libertarian. I mean, I'm to paraphrase a friend who shall remain anonymous. These are basically kind of middle class adventurists who have absorbed the rise and grind aesthetic of like neoliberal ideology, and then have completely like fetishized transactional sex.
Right.
I wasn't talking about people, though. By the way, crucially, I was not talking about people who fetishize transactional sex. I was talking about people who transactionalize ordinary sex, who make it into some like question of like emotional labor or some sort of whatever neolib dynamic, because that's the unsexy part.
Yeah.
And I was crucially also not talking about women like Liara Rue and Janice Griffith who use social media to solicit work,
right,
indirectly.
More power to them. Yeah,
more power to them. I was talking specifically about that minor but not insignificant subset of women who want to co-brand themselves with the sex work aesthetic. Is that such a mystery?
Yeah. Sure.
Who want all the perks of being a sex worker, all the kind of like reputational perks without actually doing any sex work.
Right.
That's a class of women that exists. I've met some of them.
Are cam girls sex workers?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I guess they sell a sexual service for money. They're kind of a fringe case because they're also like the 1% of sex workers, to the degree that their work is inherently less risky and dangerous.
Right. Very depersonalized by design.
Yeah.
But it's still work. I can acknowledge,
Yeah.
It's quite hard.
It's still,
to fap for so long.
Yeah, I've made nude photos and videos for private consumption. Let me tell you, that wasn't fun. It was a lot of work. It was annoying.
Right.
Unless you like really want to be doing it.
Which some of them do. Some sure it's like creatively fulfilling for a certain subset of them, I suppose. I want Kyle to start doing it.
He should become a cam boy.
Kyle needs to start jacking on cam.
I think on some level they also feel a little bit insecure and precarious because, especially being a sex worker who is like heavily internet based, I think that's a profession that depends very significantly on looks and youth, which are inherently depreciating assets.
I mean, that's just the truth.
Yeah, and what happens to you after you reach a certain age, and you
especially if
don't want to do porn
branded yourself, if you've, like, in a very millennial way, completely co-signed your identity to the fact that you are a sex worker.
Yeah.
How long can you, you know, what do you do?
Yeah, and I think
I suppose Sasha Grey is a DJ now.
Oh, really? That's funny.
And like a photographer or something.
And I mean, I feel like they feel insecure to some extent because they have branded themselves so heavily as sex workers, and it's very kind of hard to get out of that mode or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, what else is there to say about,
I guess, you know,
yield sex workers?
Everyone's gonna be mad at us anyway. I don't even give a shit anymore. I don't care. I'm so fucking tired. Oh.
Wait, Dasha, can I have a cigarette? I guess I won't. I'm too lazy to edit this out. I just want to
leave it all in.
Smoke some butts to get the juices flowing.
Get that nicotine.